Last 10th, we have got history civics today, and the chapter is the First War of Independence. Now, we have already discussed some of the important facts which are connected with this chapter, like we had got the results and also the causes of the First War of Independence. We have discussed some of them, almost all of them: the political causes, the social and religious causes, the economic causes, the military causes, and also we discussed about the immediate cause. Immediate cause, as you know, was because of the greased cartridges. A new rifle had been introduced in the British Army, and the soldiers were supposed to remove the covering of the cartridges, which were greased. A rumor spread that they were greased with the fat of cow and the pig. So the Indian soldiers refused to use it, and Mangal Pandey, who was in Barakpur at that time, in the Barakpur regiment, and he refused to use it, and he was forced to use it, and he killed 2 British officers. He was tried and executed. So this is where it actually started from. That was the immediate cause, and there were other factors which we have already discussed. Now we are coming to the results and consequences of the war of First War of Independence. Although the First War of Independence did not bring independence to India, yet its results affected India, and it did not leave India unaffected. There were a number of causes, results of this First War of Independence. Number first was the end of company's rule. The company came to an end after the War of Independence, after the First War of Independence, and an act for a better government of India was passed on 2nd August 1858. The Act of 1858 transferred the government of India from the company to the British Crown. The company's board of control and the directors of the court were abolished, and all their powers were transferred to the cabinet minister, who was known as the Secretary of State for India. The Secretary of State was to be assisted by India Council, consisting of 15 members. Second was policy towards the Indian princes and the chiefs. Queen Victoria declared in her proclamation in 1858 that the British government is not going to annex the Indian states, that it is not going to take control of the Indian states. He gave this announcement, she made this announcement that the policy towards the Indian state is going to be changed. All the treaties of the Indian princes which they had concluded with the company would be honored. Their rights of adoption and succession would be recognized. The next result was abolition of Peshwaship and abolition of Mughal dynasty. The end of Mughal dynasty and the end of Peshwaship. That was another important result of the First War of Independence. Nana Sahib, who took an active part in the First War of Independence, fled to Nepal and never returned back. So the office of Peshwaship was abolished. After the death of Bahadur Shah, who was deported to Rangoon, the Mughal dynasty came to an end. The Mughal dynasty, whose foundation was laid by the Babur, that dynasty also came to an end. Then another important result of this First War of Independence was that reorganization of the military. The army was reorganized. After 1857, they increased the number of the British soldiers in the Indian Army. All the effective weapons like artillery and other weapons were being reserved only for the British. And secondly, what they did was they mixed the Indian army like belonging to different castes. They mixed them in the regiments so that they are not going to develop a sort of unity amongst themselves. Then there was another important part and factor, that another policy which they adopted, that was divide and rule policy. After 1857, they adopted the policy of divide and rule. What they did, they first supported the Hindus and suppressed the Muslims. And later on, they supported the Muslims and opposed the Hindus. They continued to adopt this policy so that they could continue to rule over India. So these were some of the important results of the First War of Independence. Now the homework is do the next 5 questions given in the Geno app.